Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We have an amazing guest today. Her name is Laynie, and she is a longtime cannabis advocate and professional in the cannabis industry. Today, Laynie's going to be talking to us about how to become a budtender in Colorado specifically. Laynie started out as a budtender in Colorado, and she has made her way up the ladder into all kinds of positions in the cannabis industry. If you want to check out her YouTube channel, she has some videos up, and her YouTube name is LaynieGanga. With any luck, she will be a guest on our show regularly. If you're interested in manufacturing THC infused foods, check out Daryl at icecreamprivatelabel.com. He can help you get started and help ensure that you are manufacturing your food safely and within health department guidelines.
So kind of tell us how you got started, and what we wanted to talk about a little bit today is how you became a budtender and what the process is if somebody wants to become a budtender. And I know that when you first started, you actually had no experience becoming a budtender. So what were the things that you had to do in order to land a job doing that?
Yeah, no background in it at all, except for being an excited and avid consumer myself and knowing that it was doing good things for me, but I didn't have the vocabulary and understanding scientifically to express how it was helping me, but I just knew that it was good. Like, for instance, it's the opposite of when you go out drinking. You go out drinking and you feel like shit, and you're really sick the next day. And so with cannabis, I just was like, this makes me feel so much better and it balances me out. I don't get it, but I know that it's good. So I get to Colorado and I start kind of befriending all of the budtenders. I would just go to the different dispensaries and, connect with them and kind of almost survey the different people I was talking to. Like, how did you get your job and how did you get your foot in this industry? So I got little tidbits from all of them. They were giving me hints like, oh, definitely go on Craigslist and look for job openings there, which really surprised me. I was like, really? That's where I should go get a job? Is that Craigslist? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. So sure enough, they were right. When I got on Craigslist, I saw all kinds of inquiries, openings, people saying, we're looking for this and we're looking for that. So it's definitely a hot spot to go there. But first and foremost, you have to get your badge. So you have to go to the MED, which is the Marijuana Enforcement Division. And there's a couple locations here in Colorado. And so you have to set up an appointment with them. So first off, you need to know what type of badge you're going for, because there's different categories. And, it's actually a little bit pricey. So if you're going for something operational or managerial, it's like $250 just to apply for this badge and get all the necessary work done with the badge. So once the appointment's set up, then you will, you'll get your fingerprints done and they'll do a full background check. So I think that the idea of this whole process is really maybe trying to weed out, pun intended, maybe try to weed out people that have hardcore criminal backgrounds, and there's somebody that would be a liability if you hired them and had them around all this cannabis, all these different products, all this money. I think that's what they're trying to do there. So once you
how does one know which badge is for them? Do they help you with that? Does the MED help you with that?
Yeah, it'll have descriptors basically on the website. So you'll be like, okay, well, I'm just trying to be a budtender. I know I'm not going for, manager or assistant manager. Well, if you're just going to be a budtender, they call that the support badge, and you'll know that you're just applying for that one. If you have hopes to be a manager, then definitely go for the one higher up, which would be the key badge. So yeah, and you after you pay your fee and they take, they snap your photo and everything, then it's just kind of like a waiting game. Is everything going to come back clear? Am I going to get the badge successfully in the mail? And then once that badge is actually received, you're officially hirable in the marijuana industry.
How long did it take you from the time that you applied for it till you received it? A month or a couple weeks?
It can be really lengthy. I think there's a lot of variables at play. For instance, I went in to go get mine I had let mine expire last spring, so I had to restart the process all over again. Well, I made a appointment, and it was like right after Christmas, and I feel like things were faster for me because of that. So I think it does depend on the time. For some people, I know it's taken them maybe like a month or two to get the process completely done, and then other people it's done in like a couple weeks. So I think it depends on a lot of like little factors, like filling in your pass arrests and like getting the information that you need for that. And, you know, like some people have like case summaries and things that they need to get a hold of. So I think it's quicker for some people than others maybe. But yeah, I've gotten like, once I applied my first time, I think I got the badge like 2 weeks later. So it can be fairly quick.
Should you have the badge before you even try to apply to jobs? Or did you say go in and you applied and then you were like, oh, I need to get a badge, so then you got it afterwards?
Pretty much if you tried to go into an interview or anything, they're going to like ask you for your badge the second you walk in the door. If you say, oh, I don't have one yet, they're probably going to send you away. So they probably won't even interview you until you have a badge.
And then what did you do?
Hit up Craigslist and started getting involved in industry events. Like in Colorado, it's pretty amazing because we have so many events like all the time that you actually have to choose between which ones you're going to go to, because like that's how much like activity is going on in the industry and how many people are very entrepreneurs. And, you know, there's just little businesses and little projects popping up all over the place, and people want to invite you to their gatherings or their, you know, launch party or opening day or whatever. So I started getting involved in different industry events and befriending people that way and learning, you know, who likes working at this dispensary and like what dispensaries have the better reputation and maybe more my style, because just like anything else, there's going to be different like different varieties of dispensaries like within the community. So you might have a mom and pop type dispensary feel, or you might have one that's like a super corporate feel, which, you know, we're not quite to that level yet, but there actually are a lot of large operations in Colorado where, you know, one family will own like 17 or 30 dispensaries. So it's like, it really can be very almost like corporate, you know? And so you just kind of like find which style you're looking for and what's the best fit for you. And pretty much right when I got on Craigslist and started hitting up a couple people, like I pretty much instantly got the job because I'm a really big nerd. And so I knew that I needed to like study like hardcore. I made myself little like flashcards as if I was like studying for an exam. And I was just trying to like impress them with everything I knew about cannabis because it was a learning process for me. I went from knowing nothing technically to like scientifically or technically to like being, you know, really well versed in it. So that's how I got my job like, instantly.
So when we first talked, you talked to me about how you went into your interview, and the first time you went in, you didn't really know that much about all the technical side and the scientific side of it. So talk to me through a little bit about how your first interview went.
Yeah, so I walk in and I'm a really like upbeat person and really friendly. So like that part is super easy for me. Like I typically give off a good first impression. So I do the whole interview and I've got all the, you know, customer service skills and customer service background. I've got the personality and everything, but I did not have the actual like knowledge base of the ins and outs of scientifically of cannabis and the genetics and the cannabinoids. Like learning about the cannabinoids was huge for me. So I finished that first interview and he was like, well, you know, you're really amazing. Like you're a really incredible person and we'd love to have you on the team, but you don't know shit about cannabis, like scientifically speaking, or like on the level that we would need you to if you're going to have the role of Budtender and help people navigate this plant and its different properties. So he was like, if you can, he said, I would love to hire you as long as you can come back and impress me with what you know, as far as the ins and outs. So I was like, okay. And that's when I made those flashcards and it was just like totally like a bookworm, like everything that had to do with cannabis. So I came back the following week and he started asking me, like, he was kind of like testing me as far as cannabinoids go. And he was like, you're like, what do you know about CBC? And I start telling him how it's, great for bones and it's another amazing anti-inflammatory. And I start like saying all these like tiny little details that I had read in research. And he was really, really impressed that I was able to like spout all those off, because CBC, you might ask anybody what CBC is and they're not going to, they're like, what? CBC? So like, I think he was impressed that it was kind of a random cannabinoid, not just THC, not just CBD. And so he like hired me right then and there. And I've been in the industry ever since that moment. So I've had all kinds of different jobs and roles within the industry since then.